to the nation's capital of Canada, Ottawa, Ontario, as Ottawa Fury FC hosts Pittsburgh Riverhounds in this Friday night matchup. Thanks for joining us here today from TD Place. Gord Smith alongside myself, Tyler McDonald, and what's going to be a fantastic night for football and what should be a fantastic game in the USL East. Two teams very close together in the standings, only 5 points separating them.
Yeah, Ottawa with a game in hand, and it's another crucial home game for them here this evening. They've got to get something out of this match from a really team against Pittsburgh that's been on fire the last little while.
We have a return tonight, and he's our player to watch. Steven Dos Santos makes his first return to TD Place as a member of Pittsburgh.
What can you say? We had a couple of really good seasons here, lots of goals for the Ottawa Fury. He comes into this match tonight, 44 shots at goal. He leads the Riverhounds. Second in that stat with 7 goals, but it's all about his height, his presence up front. I think he's brought a little bit of different part to his game here in 2019, sometimes playing a little bit deeper for Pittsburgh. Ottawa Fury back four will have to be really careful where he is all evening tonight.
For Ottawa Fury FC, it's the captain. He's been on fire as of recently, Carl Howarth.
Terrific player, he really is, on and off the park. Leads the team with 8 goals, tied for the lead with 5 assists. It's his role up and down the right flank alongside Cristiano Francois, Tyler, that's going to be crucial to the success. Pittsburgh are watching some of their highlights, a little bit susceptible to balls down the flanks, balls coming in from wide positions. They've really got to make sure that Carl Howard, that supply, gets cut out here this evening.
Lots of offense on both sides of the ball. It should be a very interesting matchup here tonight. We can take a quick break. When we come back, Graham Ivory will be alongside Gordon Smith. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This program brought to you by Gabriel Pizza. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. Now available online at gabrielpizza.com.
I waited till I was 49, 4 months short of my 50th birthday to start. Wish I'd started a lot earlier. Just start. The first step's the hardest. It's never a direct route to get there. What better investment can you make? Because without health, we've got nothing.
All right, everyone got everything?
Let's go.
I have to go pee.
All right, okay.
All right,
Okay.
Here we go.
Wait, Dad, hold on. Something.
Okay.
All right.
I need my pillow.
Christopher!
No. You can't take that.
The brand new 3-row Subaru Ascent. The perfect family SUV for your mostly perfect family.
There are 8 million kids in Canada. By the time I finish this sentence, 6 of us will be cyberbullied. By the end of the month, 1 million. Bullied. We're not okay with that.
Welcome back inside TD Place as we're set to get underway between Ottawa Fury FC and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Graham Ivory alongside Gordon Smith for the call of tonight's broadcast. Let's get into the starting 11 for both sides, brought to you by Gabriel Pizza. Starting with the visiting Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Kyle Morton gets the start in goal. Canadian Ryan James, Toby Aldewalde, Thomas Van Kazeel, Joe Greenspan, Jordan Dover, Canardo Forbes, Muhammad Dabo, Kevin Kerr, former Fury striker Steven Dos Santos, and their leading scorer Nico Brett rounds out the starting 11 for the visiting Riverhounds. For Ottawa Fury FC, pretty much the same starting 11 that we saw here last Saturday, with the exception of one change in the back line. Callum Irving gets the start in goal. Maxim Tissot, Chris Manella, Dakota Barnathan, who's in The lineup tonight in place of Robert Boscovich, Carl Howarth, the captain at right back, Val Fall, Charlie Ward, Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé across the midfield, Haji Berry, who scored his first goal as a member of Ottawa Fury FC in last Saturday's victory over St. Louis, Kevin Oliveira, and Haitian international Cristiano Francois round out the front three for Ottawa Fury FC. This will be his final game for Ottawa Fury, as he will miss the next three as part of that 3-game road trip over the course of 8 days, as he's been called up to the national team to play for Haiti. So congratulations to Cristiano Francois, but another sharp-looking starting 11 for Nikola Popovic's side.
Yeah, two very strong starting 11s here, Graham. Nico Brett up front for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds will be someone, along with Steven DeSantos, that the Fury will have to be aware of every single time that ball is in the attacking third for the Riverhounds.
And of course, Cristiano Francois, former Pittsburgh Riverhound, as he featured there last year in 33 games with Pittsburgh in 2018, scoring 5 goals, 4 assists. And of course, Steven DeSantos, 17 goals, 6 assists over 58 career games over his 2 seasons here in the nation's capital. And certainly 2 players that we will want to keep a close eye on here this evening, as Ottawa gets an early throw in. The captain throws that one in, headed away at the lip of the 6-yard box, played across the top of the 18. That one knocked back out to the midfield. First there for Ottawa, and a much different looking kit for Ottawa Fury FC tonight, as they sport their Oseg brethren colors of the Ottawa 67s, yes. The barber pole look for Ottawa Fury FC.
I've got to be honest with you, Graham, from this distance away, it's very, very sharp looking. I mean, it's a little bit tougher on us for the numbers there, the black numbers on the back of the shirts, but it does look a very, very tidy looking jersey that I'm sure the fans will flock to the store, not only right now but later on during the course of the next week or two, to pick up their own. Very, very nice looking jersey here for the Ottawa Fury tonight.
Howarth plays that one down the line, bit too much pace on that one, and that one out for a goal kick. Opening minute in the books, 0-0. 2 very good sides in the USL Eastern Conference alongside Indy and Tampa Bay. Those 4 teams, only 4 losses, the fewest in the East so far this season, Ottawa of course being one of them. The last time these 2 sides met in Pittsburgh back on June the 8th, 2-0, Pittsburgh was leading, then 2 goals 3 minutes apart from Val Fall and Aiden Daniels, and then of course that miraculous penalty kick save and stoppage time. Here's an opportunity, and Steven DeSantos returns to the nation's capital and scores his 8th goal of the season to open the scoring in the 2nd minute to give the Riverhounds the early lead.
Well, a disastrous start for the Ottawa Fury, carved open right down the middle of the park. They had an opportunity to get that ball cleared away. It's a poor clearance. The ball gets slipped through. Lovely ball by Brett, and very, very clinical finish by Steven DeSantos, right-footed into the bottom left-hand corner. Callum Irving can only not shake his head, but that was very, very poor defending by the Ottawa Fury. You've got to get that ball cleared. Such an early mistake right here, and they find themselves on the back foot not 2 minutes into this match.
Well, we talked lots after the match last Saturday when Ottawa put forward perhaps one of their best first half performances of the season. But then it was a tumultuous second half, even playing up a man over St. Louis. They made work out of that one. And unfortunately for Ottawa, perhaps that lull carrying over inside the opening part of this match. Trailing 1-0, the former Fury striker Steven DeSantos now tied with Nico Brett for the team lead in goals with 8. We'll see how Ottawa reshifts the focus here. Carl Howarth plays that one in over the top. Bit of a stumble there by Francois. Kevin Oliveira looking for support, but that one mishit, unable to find Howarth into touch for a Pittsburgh throw.
No, you practice all week, Graham, to come out with a strategy, what you're going to try to do. You're going to want to do this, do that. Oh my goodness, your playbook's completely thrown out the window now. Yes, as much as you'd like to continue what you set out to do, you've given up a goal very, very early doors here. And you've just got to get your concentration back, get your focus back. The reverse from what we saw last week, you talked about a terrific start. I mean, a lot of the games that we've seen here at TD Place, it's been the reverse. It's been a poor start in the second half, or late in the first half and the second half of games has been far better for Ottawa, but to concede so early, and to concede against the big lad as well, who I'm sure is well up for this here tonight.
10 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in their last 13 games, and that's ever since Ottawa and Pittsburgh drew 2-2 back on the 8th of June. Pittsburgh sporting a 4-4-3 record away from home. Very strong at home, 8-0-5.
And you look at the top of the USL Eastern Conference right now, they are one of the hottest teams, having picked up 4 wins, Graham, in their last 5 games. Louisville has done that as well. And the New York Red Bulls are the only other team, in the 11, sorry, 2 other teams that have done it. But it's all about this time of the season when you've got to start putting wins together, get that consistency, so that you're starting to pick up wins not only at home, Graham, but on the road as well. And you can't afford to be dropping points here tonight. You're already 5 points behind Pittsburgh. If you're looking at getting into the top 4 and guaranteeing yourself a home playoff date, Graham, you've got to start picking up points at home.
And we'll also be doing a bit of scoreboard watching tonight. 2 other fixtures going on around the USL. Charlotte Independence home to the Charleston Battery. That one 3 minutes in at 0-0. Louisville City home to Indy 11. Another big matchup in the Eastern Conference. Scoreless in the early goings there. Fall called for the foul, and see a bit of frustration on his face after that call.
Well, you look at those last 5 games, as we said, only 1 loss. It was a 5-0 hammering, though, to North Carolina FC. A very tight game until a red card for Pittsburgh. And then the floodgates just opened with those 5 goals on the penalty kick as well. So when you look at some of the goals that have been scored against them, though, again, we did touch on the top of the show about down the flanks possibly being a concern for them. And above all else, balls getting whipped into the box. And I'm sure that's something the Ottawa Fury, with Carl Haworth down the right, Maxime Tissot down the left, will look to get activated as quickly as possible. Support not only midfield, but get to the byline, get balls cut back, and hopefully get a runner coming in, Val Fall, or someone coming in possibly from midfield.
A pair of Canadians in the lineup tonight for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Jordan Dover and Ryan James. The 2 natives there. Ottawa with 5 Canadians in their starting lineup, and another 5 available on the substitutes bench. The subs for tonight for Ottawa: David Monsalve, Onwo Obasi, Jamar Dixon, Thomas Mayer-Giguère, Thiago De Freitas, Aiden Daniels, and Ottawa native Cameron Shaw. For the visiting Riverhounds: Austin Pack, Noah Frankie, Robbie Mertz, Semi Kasai, Anthony Velarde, Christian Valesky, and Mark Forrest.
Fury in this obviously traditional 4-3-3 formation that we see on a regular basis. It looks like Dos Santos and Brett have gone in as 2 out-and-out strikers up front here this evening. It's almost like we've got a 4-4-2, but the 4 in middle for Pittsburgh is more of a diamond formation with an attacking midfielder and a holding midfielder, Graham. So the Fury have to do.
Francois with a good ball, touched first by Kevin Oliveira, unable to get to a second touch as Kyle Morton was charging off his line. Good work by Francois down that right flank to cut inside and create the opportunity. But just not enough space for Kevin Oliveira to get that second touch.
And there's that flank play we're talking about. It just gets a little bit exposed if they're 1v1. I think Francois and Barry on the outside have got a good chance to get in behind them. And as we said, get that ball across the face of goal.
Irving with the long ball forward. officials tonight. David Barry is the head referee. Andre Pickler and Gerard Cater Lebuy are the linesmen. Sebastian Noshin-Ravini is the fourth official tonight. Just see how clumped it is in that midfield in the early going, and that could be the battleground where this game is won and lost.
I think the Fury would want to do their best to try and stretch this, Graham, not only north and south, but east and west as well.
Francois brought down on the lip of the 18. Shout for a foul, not coming. Howard still in possession for the Fury. Works it back to Chris Manella, still inside the Pittsburgh half. Charlie Ward switches it to the other side for Maxim Tissot. Tissot under pressure, now 3 white shirts around him, finds Gagnon Laparé. Kevin Oliveira cutting inside, there's a shot right on target, easily handled by Kyle Morton on Ottawa's first shot of the match.
Yeah, nice break into the edge of the box, just opens up his body, tries to curl that ball into the top hand corner. Graham didn't get enough on it there. We see the possible free kick, and here we see Oliveira just a little bit back onto his right foot, opens up, doesn't get enough underneath the ball to get it up and over the goalkeeper, but nice little break there by the Ottawa Fury. Maxime Tissot, Jeremy Gagnon Laparé. We talked last week about how well those two worked together in that first half, Graham. We got away from it in the second half. We made some changes. Oh dear.
Nico Brett cutting onto his right foot, and a great strike from Nico Brett in the 11th minute, beating Callum Irving at the back post as he turned the Ottawa defense and given the visitors a 2-0 advantage.
Just again, completely switching off, Graham. Nice ball into him, but when he gets it, it's just far too easy, walking beyond defenders. After Santos Veras, Charlie Ward backs off. I mean, just all he does is just step around the defender and gets the shot in. And I'm sure at this point, the defence is going to start pointing fingers at the midfield. The midfield's going to start pointing fingers at the defence, but you've got to take care of that ball around your 18-yard box. That's a good tidy finish though by Brett. He obviously knows the road to goal. He's now back the top goal scorer all by himself for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And the play sheet, Graham, much similar to the first game down in Pittsburgh, is now Pittsburgh 2, Ottawa 0. If the Fury were able to call a timeout, Graham, I'm sure this would be a perfect time to do it, because they just have not been able to come to grips right now with the Santos and Brett up front.
Oliveira called for the foul there as Canadian Ryan James was brought to the turf. This is a Pittsburgh side, as we mentioned, 10 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses in their last 13 coming into this one, and this is a team that's been able to do it at both ends of the pitch, Gord. They've been defensively sound, but offensively they've scored close to 30 goals over those 13 games in this impressive run and conceded just a dozen.
I think that's them up to 46 now on the season, and that's a terrific return for Coach Lilly to get the results that's it's obviously pushing them up the table here in 2019. I think the one thing that's really interesting right now, we talked about the midfield being really congested. 1 or 2 players for Pittsburgh are just doing really intelligent play, just finding that little pocket in beside, right in the middle of that triangle that the Ottawa Fury are playing, and they're looking for a ball played out of the back, and when they get it, they're turning, and right away they've got 2 target men ahead of them. Whereas sometimes a lot of teams don't have that, playing with just a lone striker.
Ball given away in the midfield there, and now Pittsburgh will look to counter here. Canardo Forbes leads the team with 7 assists on the season. He and Mohamed Dabo, both in that midfield, really getting things going offensively. But it's Canardo Forbes, he's the assist leader on this team. Has 2 goals to go along with those 7 assists. While you look at the quality of players they have in their lineup, Gord, you really have to look to the guy who's on the bench for them, and that's a man who's just proven successful at this level with whatever club he's managed, whether it's been Pittsburgh Rochester Rhinos before that. You can go all the way back to his time with the Vancouver Whitecaps, and Bob Lilly is a guy who knows how to compete at this level. He's a system guy. Pick the club he's managed, and you know exactly how they play. It's been like to like to like, and certainly working for Pittsburgh this season as he did last year in his first year at the helm to change things around there for the Riverhounds.
You know what you're getting? You're getting a team full of endeavour, full of effort, full of energy, Graham, but above all else, they're talented players that play well within his system and exactly what's being asked to do. And you know, you don't want to get outside of that system. You just want to continue doing what's successful for you. Obviously, it's continuing again here in 2019.
Dover took that attempted ball right in the head, and he was down momentarily, so play whistled there by David Barry. Tiso tried to send that one down the line, and Dover took it pretty solidly in the left side of the head. He's back up and all right. Fans, you can continue to enjoy the USL on ESPN through the 2022 season. The USL is excited to announce the championship and League One will remain with the leader in sports for 3 more years. ESPN Plus will continue to be the home of all things USL, and at least 19 games a year will be featured on the ESPN family of networks, including 9 games on ESPN Deportes. Continue to follow, support, and watch clubs on ESPN and ESPN Plus as Nico Brett comes looking for his second of the match, as he was giving Dakota Barnathan all sorts of fits there. Tiso reverses back for Barnathan. Forced back to Callum Irving.
Well, the Fury have been guilty a few times, Graham, in the midfield third. They're just conceding possession far too easily, trying to play some nice one-touch passes, but they're not able to be all on the same page. It's given away, and quickly Pittsburgh turning in the transition, going the other way.
Brett, can he get a touch to it? Chips it over Irving, but that one just going wide at the back post, as again Pittsburgh jumping on an opportunity in the counter-attack there. And Brett once again at the forefront of everything for the Riverhounds.
Well, this is just far too easy. I mean, the term life through butter, Graham, doesn't even do it justice. I mean, they're just completely carving open this back four of the Ottawa Fury. They've just got to settle down. They've got to try and come to grips with the movement of Brett up front. DeSantos coming a little bit deeper at times, and just pulling one or two of the defenders away from that central area. And it really is becoming difficult now for the Ottawa Fury to try and just get into any rhythm in that back line right now.
Manella inside for Val Fowl. Charlie Ward. Now Barnathan for Tiso. Quick touch to Gagnon Laparade. Now Ottawa moving quickly here. Ball in. Cristiano Francois can't get there first, and it's Joe Greenspan knocking that one out for Ottawa's first corner of the match.
Well, it was a lovely ball, the outside of the right foot by Val Fowl, but as it was, it started spinning back towards the defender. If it stayed on the same plane away from goal, it would have been a better opportunity, but the spin that Fowl put on that ball, Graham, worked against them.
Ward whips that one over for Carl Howarth. First touch into the 6. And a good defensive play there to knock that one out for another Ottawa corner.
Well, another good ball by Charlie Ward up and over. Carl Howarth had ghosted in behind, wide open. Obviously had to take it first time as he was getting closed down. Corner kick again, the Ottawa Fury.
And once again, it was Joe Greenspan interrupting Ottawa's opportunity there. Howarth's delivery. Headed away again by Greenspan. And another Ottawa corner. And Howarth will check out this time, and Maxim Tiso will come over to whip this one in with the left peg.
Well, Howarth usually delivers it away from the goal. This one will go right onto the goalkeeper, so you've got to try and keep it, if you can, around the 6-yard box, even that penalty box area, Graham, the penalty spot area, away from the goalkeeper.
Tiso's delivery, that one headed away, and now Forbes does the rest of the work to clear it back to the Ottawa half, where Callum Irving receives it.
And look how quickly Pittsburgh are breaking out. 3 or 4 Ottawa players left in behind them, Graham. Callum Irving had to wait until they got back onside.
Brett whips that over to the far side. Greenspan into Kerr, back to Greenspan. And Kaziel. Kevin Kerr surveys his option. And Kaziel through the middle. Steven DeSantos pushes it out wide as Pittsburgh now gain the Ottawa half and look to get something going. Intercepted there by Maxim Tissot. An awful challenge there.
Well, he claimed he got the ball, didn't he? Obviously,
Haji Berry in a yellow card
obviously
immediately
the referee
given.
doesn't think so, yes. A chance to see that on the replay, but Barry certainly a big yell from where we are and not happy at all about that. Yeah, it was, he came right through the player. You know, he actually got the ball, but there was contact there. And you can see why he's pointing to the ball. I mean, fair enough, he did get the ball, but to come in on the side of a player and take him out like that, unfortunately, the referee's going to give you a yellow card for that every single time. But Pittsburgh won't be worried too much about that. They right now are in total control of this match, Graham. A 2-0 lead.
Headed away, Dabo. Cleared back to the midfield. Charlie Ward gains it back for Ottawa. Manella for Francois. Drawing quite far back into the Ottawa midfield. Howard, first touch. Tries to find Haji Berry. That one headed away. Ottawa did the rest of the work. And now it's cleared back into the Ottawa half. And Pittsburgh can play a much more patient game now with the 2-goal advantage in the early going of this one. It was Steven DeSantos from Nico Brett in the 2nd minute, and then Brett himself in the 11th minute to give the visitors the 2-goal advantage.
And almost identical goals, Graham. Just balls played right through the heart of the defence. Calmly stroking the ball into the bottom left-hand corner, and unfortunately for the Ottawa Fury, they find themselves well behind the 8 ball here this evening.
Should note that Steven DeSantos did draw an assist on that goal by Brett, so returning the favor after he was set up for the opener. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com.
Didn't get a shout there. He's not happy with his goalkeeper. Greenspan was expecting a goalkeeper, Morton, to call for it. He took a touch, obviously take it out for a corner kick, but a little bit of a miscommunication. Could this be the breakthrough the Ottawa Fury have been searching for inside these first 22.5 minutes? Midway through the first half.
Howard's delivery. Going up for the header was Berry. Ball falling there to help out too. Can it fall loose? Offside flag is up.
Well, it wasn't cleared properly by the Riverhounds at all there, Graham. The ball's bouncing around. The second attempt, the third attempt, the Fury finally had at it. I think it was Barnathan there that just was in the offside position right there as it broke through to him. It came off Haji Berry first, but when that ball was put through, Barnathan was considered to be in the first phase, and obviously the flag went up. And unfortunately for the Fury, a half chance comes to nothing. Valfar with a good win there in the air, but goes out for a throw-in, and again it will be Pittsburgh looking to start something coming the other way.
And usually you see subs in the first half start warming up around the half-hour, 35-minute mark, and for about the last 5-6 minutes now, Thomas Meyer-Giguère has been in behind the Pittsburgh goal warming up, so we could well be seeing him come in here to this match as Nikola Popovic may see a need for a change in his back line.
Well, we haven't really seen a settled back four from the Ottawa Fury in what seems like forever, Graham, between the two centre-backs being out, You've got Abassi sometimes at left back, Gagnon Lapare at left back. You've now got Maxime Tissot's on a run, I think 3 or 4 games now that he's been at left back. So there's just not been that consistency in the back four. And I've got to be honest with you, it's clearly showing here tonight.
I think it was Val Fowl who was fouled, and now a free kick opportunity here. Both Maxime Tissot and Carl Howarth standing behind it for Ottawa.
I've got to be honest, it's a bit far for Carl. I mean, we know what he can do, but the angle's not perfect for him. The distance is a little bit longer than I think he would normally like, and you just wonder maybe a little chip to the back post. Barnathan coming in right around that penalty spot area.
Tissot tries an effort and certainly wanted to get the boot behind it, but skies that one well high and over the bar. 25th minute, and Pittsburgh has a 2-goal lead over Ottawa on goals from Steven DeSantos and Nico Brett.
Well, you know, 15 games Kyle Morton's played. This is his 16th game tonight. He's already got 6 clean sheets, 33 saves, so at least 2 saves a game. 18 goals against, so he's just a little bit over 1, but from that distance, Graham, it's going to have to be an incredible shot to beat a goalkeeper of this quality.
Well, DeSantos tried an effort there from about 25 yards out. That one missing high and wide at the target. DeSantos comes into tonight's match already with 44 shots to lead the Riverhounds. He's already got 1 shot at least on target tonight, and that effort there that missed wide, so that puts him up to 46. Nico Brett second on the team with 34 shots. Ottawa's leader in shots coming into tonight was Kevin Oliveira. He's already had 1 effort on target, so that puts him at 46 for the season. Chested down by James. James spent last season, if I'm not mistaken, with Nashville. Mississauga, Ontario native. Of course, Jordan Dover, no surprise that he would end up back with Bob Lilly as he played for him with the Rochester Rhinos. He's a native of Ajax, Ontario, so
it's nice to see Canadians getting a game not only just with the Ottawa Fury, Graham, and obviously the big talk discussion right now in Canada is Canadian players being given an opportunity. Certainly the CPL is one avenue. The USL is an opportunity as well for some of these lads to really get involved, make a name for themselves, and possibly, if they can, at some point push themselves into the reckoning for the national team.
So having a quick look at the out-of-town scores here in the USL Eastern Conference. 0-0 through 27 minutes in Charlotte between the Independents and the Charleston Battery. Same scoreline in Louisville as Indy 11 are there visiting, that one through 24 minutes.
Well, Dos Santos does not understand why a free kick got called against him. He didn't seem to think he had any involvement in that play at all, unless it was a push in the back that the referee had seen on Barnathan, and unfortunately for the defender went barreling into the keeper. But well, you know, we talk about great starts, Graham, and how well the Fury played in that first half last week, and this week it's just been the exact opposite. There's been no fluid play, there's been no nice crisp passing, it's been all stops and starts. Any attacks, it's been a couple of minutes before something else comes around. There's just no
nasty foul there on Carl Howarth, and he was incensed as Ryan James clipped him on the heels as he was running through. He was quick to jump up and express his frustration to David Barry.
Well, here we see that run. He gets between 2 defenders, and right there.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't.
It
wasn't James. It was Dabo. Who,
in all honesty, there's a possibility that could have been a yellow, because Carl Howarth was well beyond him, Graham, when he reached out and just clipped him down. So rather fortunate, I think, to get away without going into the book. But again, another wide free kick for the Ottawa Fury.
Again, Howarth and Tissot behind it. Howarth's delivery. That one headed away by James. Cristiano Francois, first to it for Ottawa. His pass will be intercepted by James once again. And James tries to lead the rush the other way. First to it, Canardo Forbes down that right side.
That was the wrong option, Graham. You got to go to Brett there down the left channel.
DeSantos back to Forbes, and he just completely got caught in two minds there, and it rolls into touch for an Ottawa throw as we've hit the half-hour mark here at TD Place with Fury FC behind 2-0.
Well, another slack ball played into central midfield. He just completely took his eye off the ball, and
he was looking up at the target of the cross before he. Well, we got presented with some pretty slick Fury jerseys prior to tonight's game, and I asked you about your number 11 Smith on the back of your kit, and I was like, what is this? And now you're telling me you're this magical left winger. So I want to know, how many times did you do what Canardo Forbes just did on the left flank? Or
well, he was on the right, so that wouldn't happen to me on the left. We were all good.
Why? Because the ball never came to you there.
No, the ball came an awful lot. It was.
The glorious days of the Ottawa Falcons, Gord.
No, the Carleton University, Carleton Ravens was the glory years for sure. But it's nice to be up here calling these games for the USL. We've been doing games, Graham, together since the old PDL days, standing on top of the roof of Algonquin College Sports Complex, and here we are in this wonderful facility called TD Place, and it just would have been lovely with the new uniforms that the Fury are sporting here. It would have been nice if we got a better performance for them inside these first 31 minutes, but as it is, you've got to give full credit to Pittsburgh. I think they've been absolutely terrific here. This 4-4-2 formation with a diamond in the middle has really given the Ottawa Fury fits and starts. They just cannot cope with that midfield play of the Riverhounds.
Double muscles Oliveira down. Play continues on, and Pittsburgh look to come back the other way. First there for Ottawa's Charlie Ward. Oliveira back in possession now. Tries to go in for Val Fall, dispossessed. Nico Brett, he loses control. Carl Howarth in for Oliveira. He's intercepted by James. And Pittsburgh just seemed to be like they know what the next move is, with how they've intercepted some of the passes already this evening.
Well, when DeSantos drops back even into midfield, it makes a 4, becomes a 5. And I don't know, I wasn't really good in math in high school, but 5-on-3, Graham, in that area of the park is going to be very, very difficult for the Ottawa Fury. That's why we're seeing Oliveira having to drop so deep. We're seeing Francois as well having to come back and look for the ball. Because right now, Pittsburgh are just doing a terrific job of swarming that midfield area, and the Ottawa Fury just can't seem to cope with it.
Yeah, it's really like 4-2-3-1, sometimes 4-3-2-1, however you want to look at it. It sometimes has that Christmas tree look to it, but however you want to analyze it, it's been quite effective for Pittsburgh in the opening half hour here tonight, as well as their season thus far.
All I know is that when there's a counter-attack going, there's usually at least 3 white shirts, Graham, streaming forward to try and get on the end of the ball. It's really nice to watch. I think the Ottawa Fury just need to go in at half-time. If it gets to 2-0, even if you can get a goal to get back into this at 2-1, I just wonder if Coach Popovich might make a substitution or two just to try and freshen things up. Because right now, a couple of these lads just don't look at the races here tonight.
Barnathan wins that header out of the reach of Gagnon Laparé. Cristiano Francois back to help out and win back possession for the Fury. Charlie Ward. Certainly been a bright spot for Ottawa, leading the USL in passes there, but now an opportunity for Steven DeSantos again as he's played in. This one to the back post, and there's Nico Brett to slide in at the back post and tuck it home to give the visitors a 3-0 lead here in the 34th minute. And once again, Pittsburgh capitalizing on an error, and the counter-attack leads to their 3rd goal of the night.
Well, I got to be honest, I think DeSantos is trying to chip this up and over the goalkeeper himself. He doesn't get it quite perfect. It breaks very kindly to Brett. Coming inside the back post, Charlie Ward can't get there, and this is an absolute mauling here inside these first 30 some odd minutes, Graham, by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We talk about road teams coming in here and trying to do certain things, work on certain things. It's just been a steamroller effort here by Pittsburgh so far. 3-0, 34 minutes gone. And you really have to start looking down that Ottawa bench and say, how are we going to change things up? Because the way things are at right now, it's just not working.
So Nico Brett's second of the game and team leading 10th goal of the season. Has the visitors in front by a 3-0 score. Tune into ESPN 3 on September 11th at 10:30 p.m. for an electrifying edition of Wednesday Night Soccer. High-flying Phoenix Rising FC heads to Las Vegas to meet the Lights in an action-packed Western Conference showdown. See it all September 11th at 10:30 p.m. during Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN 3. And on a Friday night under the lights, leading into a long weekend here. Good crowd here at TD Place, but the visitors have done a great job in taking them out of it here, putting up a 3 spot in the opening half.
They've not only taken the fury out, but they've taken this crowd right out of it, Graham. And as much as the Bytown boys on the far side are trying to get things going again, this is as flat a TD Place as I've seen and heard in a long, long time. Oh, Tisso's gone down, and that's not good.
Pittsburgh now looking to counter here. Good header by Dakota Bardathan to break that up as Steven DeSantos was left in space. Another one delivered into the box. Callum Irving able to collect that with DeSantos again lurking for a ball.
It's offside. When that ball was kicked, it was at least a yard offside. And I mean, it's an excellent call by the assistant referee. For sure it was offside just inside the halfway line. Certainly wasn't offside there.
Pittsburgh playing it out of the back. Ryan James sends that one forward. First to it was Manella. Now Barnathan has to clear that one to the far side, and that one will bounce into touch for a Pittsburgh throw.
Well, if you look at the battle of players going against their former team right now, Graham, you'd have to say Steven DeSantos definitely has a leg up in that challenge. Coming back here, to be fair, not an awful lot of celebration from the big man. He realised he had a couple of good seasons here for the Ottawa Fury.
Kyle Morton out to the top of his own 18 to collect that one. Played out for Ryan James. James tucks it back into the middle for Kevin Kerr. Pressure coming. Forbes to Dabo. Back in for Dabo. Surveys his option. Goes back to Forbes. Cuts back in for Dabo. Again to Forbes. Good movement by the Riverhounds in the midfield. Audawale switches it to the far side. Jordan Dover unable to keep it in play. Again, it looks like that was Tiso going down.
Yeah, it was out of play, but the Dover just hit it when it was out of play, and I think it came crashing off of Tiso's head. The ball was well out. I mean, I think Max got his hand up and took most of the sting off of it, but there was no need for the boy to be kicking that ball a good half yard or so into touch.
Barnathan back for Callum Irving. 39th minute here at TD Place. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds have come in and stunned the Fury early with a 3-goal lead. Irving back to Barnathan. Again to Irving. That high line of pressure that we see Ottawa use on the opponents so very often, especially here at home. Kind of turning the tide here as Pittsburgh working it or using it to their advantage tonight.
Yeah, they're just a step behind in every aspect of the game, Graham. Attack, defense, everything tonight.
Cristiano Francois breaks a tackle there. I'm not sure how that was offside.
Didn't get a chance to see it, Graham. I was looking on the far side to the ball that was played through. You're probably not going to.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, he did. He did.
Is. And that's almost identical to the offside that you got called at central midfield a couple of minutes ago as well, just trying to get that extra step against the defender. And it's interesting, it looks like Francois and Hadji Barry have switched sides with each other, just trying to maybe create something a little bit different.
Well, one thing that replay did show is just how tight that back line is. I mean, you have 4 guys across the back, everybody in that line, and when you're defending against a speedster like Cristiano Francois, that takes a lot of confidence in your entire line to maintain your shape when you know that a half step and that guy's going to be gone. So
this back 4 looks fairly quick themselves, Graham, and I'm sure they're more than happy to keep a very high line. Just smother that area in central midfield. Don't allow players like Charlie Ward a chance to find a shot ahead of him.
Francois dispossessed momentarily. Ottawa still in possession here. Tissot inside for Oliveira, now Francois. Francois first to it for Ottawa and stumbles around the goal line area. That one out for a goal kick. 41st minute here at TD Place. Ottawa trail by a 3-0 score.
I think his final touch there had to be a ball cut back towards Hadji Berry, making a run into the box, Graham, to try and take an extra touch. Does well right here, burst between the 2 of them. At that point, he's got to just try and play it across goal, maybe get a deflection or something back towards the target. He decided to take an extra touch, get a better angle. Obviously, it was a little bit too heavy. Goes behind for the goal kick.
Having a look at the out-of-town scores, Charlotte and Charleston 0-0. They're now in the 42nd minute. Louisville and Indy also 0-0 as they've hit the 40th minute in Louisville.
Pittsburgh, full marks to them. They're absolutely no hurry at all. The urgency just has dropped right off. They're more than happy just to maintain possession, just try and stymie the Ottawa Fury, frustrate them a little bit.
DeSantos brings it down just a bit ahead of Nico Brett. Back to help out is Max Tissot. Down the line, Cristiano Francois trying to get beyond his man. That one into touch. He'll take the throw quickly in for Gagnon Laparé. Back to Francois. Dabo marking him closely. Tissot now for Ottawa. Inside the Pittsburgh half, Gagnon Laparé forced back to Barnathan. Now Charlie Ward. Chris Manella. Gets beyond DeSantos under pressure. Turning was Oliveira, back to Howarth. Switches it over for Barnathan. Gagnon Laparé. Back for Charlie Ward, just inside the Ottawa half. As Ottawa tries to find something here in the latter stages of this opening half to give them a boost heading into the second half with a 3-goal deficit.
Well, we don't see an awful lot of teams come in here to TD Place, Graham, and play with such a high press, high intensity in the attacking third. And I think it's caught the Ottawa Fury off guard here tonight. They've just been unable to deal with the amount of bodies in front of them in crucial areas of the park.
Nico Brett plays it back inside his own half. Now it's Greenspan. Greenspan again. Pressure finally comes from Francois and his long ball. DeSantos has checked his run, and now Howard takes over for the Fury. DeSantos tracks him down. Howarth forced back to Manella. Daniel Lapore now to Barnathan. Barnathan again. Now Charlie Ward. Ward over the top looking for Howarth. Headed down by James. Howarth first to it for Ottawa. He's dispossessed, and now a chance for Pittsburgh to counter. They have numbers going forward. Kevin Kerr on the left. Closed down by Aji Berry. Kerr cuts it into the middle for Forbes. Canardo Forbes over the top. Steven DeSantos, great first touch. Out of his goal was Irving, but back to support was Barnathan. Now to Manella, to Charlie Ward. Now Tiso trying to get some width on that left side. Into the middle for Ward. Over the top now for Francois. As we've played 45 minutes at TD Place here in the opening half, 1 minute of stoppage time has been awarded. Daniel Lapore. Under pressure. Tiso. Charlie Ward. Chris Manella. Howarth. Volfall. Oliveira. Greenspan first there as he read that well. No foul despite the call from Oliveira. Now a chance here in stoppage time for Pittsburgh. It's Nico Brett battling with Chris Manella. Brett takes it to the corner flag. Puts his boot down on it. Manella in there, wins it for Ottawa. Good work by Chris Manella. Gets it in there for Aji Berry. Quite the battle on the near touchline in front of the Pittsburgh bench. And a foul called against Toby Aldewale.
Well, half-time is almost upon us, Graham, here, but I've got to say this is as clinical and incisive a 45 minutes we've seen by a road team here in 2019. It's just been go, go, go from start to finish by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And
let's hear what head coach Nikola Popovic has to say about that opening 45.
Joined here by head coach Nikola Popovic. Coach, tough ask here going to the second half. What do you need to see from this team to come back from 3-0 down?
I think we have to find our inside game. I think if we are able to find the pockets in the middle, we are going to be able to create more chances. I think that we didn't start well the game. However, they had 3 chances, three goals. So I believe that if we score a goal, we can come back in the game.
They're playing that direct ball very well. How do you shut that down in the second half?
Yeah, we have to be able to win the second balls. The goals came from these situations, long balls, the second ball, and then the path through. So I think we have to get better on getting not only the first ball, but especially the second ball.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And thanks very much, Tyler, who was with head coach Nikola Popovic. Scored. We'll talk more about it into the halftime, but just, really talks about winning the second ball, the inside play. It was more just how they were able to counter on Ottawa's errors. I think if you eliminate the errors, you still have a 0-0 game in front of you.
Well, we talked about the amount of times that the Fury were given possession away in the attacking third and the midfield third. And that's exactly what's been going on entirely that first 45 minutes. It's got to be better, it's got to be tighter, and above all else, it's got to be sharper. You've got to be a lot more crisp with your passes. Just an awful lot of slack ones here tonight.
45 minutes in the books here at TD Place. The visiting Pittsburgh Riverhounds have a 3-0 lead over Ottawa Fury FC. It's our halftime coming up next. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This program brought to you by Gabriel Pizza. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. Now available online at GabrielPizza.com.
These photos I had to dig for because I would hide from photos. I didn't want to be acknowledged. What I would say to my former self is just get started, just begin. Go into Good Life, meet with the trainer, go to a class, just start.
Come on, come on.
Come on, go make some friends.
It's so tough to give them a run in the city, but they really love it here. Be gentle, be gentle.
We're making friends.
See the one that, well, it's just going in circles?
Yeah.
That's mine.
Off.
Come on, time to go. Come here.
The all-new Crosstrek.
Come here. Now.
It's up for it.
Oh, no. Oh, there he goes.
I just shampooed him this morning.
There are 8 million kids in Canada. By the time I finish this sentence, 6 of us will be cyberbullied. By the end of the month, 1 million. Bullied. We're not okay with that.
Welcome back inside TD Place. It's halftime with Ottawa Fury FC trailing the Pittsburgh Riverhounds by a 3-0 score. Coming up in our halftime, we have USL storylines, Eastern Conference standings, first half stats, and more. But first, let's have a look at some of the action in USL Week 26.
Torre will shoot. Oh. He will score. Javon Torre. Oh, something's done it. Oh my goodness. Lubin, what a save. Outstanding individual effort. They stand together.
Powers delivery. Goes it out! The beauty! 150 the captain.
Garcia flicks it in there, back of the net. Trying to find Chang. Does the volley, and that one batted out. Into the penalty area. Rito, near post finish. What a goal.
They have this long win streak going, but it's because they're taking care of opportunities as this strike goes up and in.
How about Ferris? How good is this? This one whistled all the way across, headed on. Frame tipped over the bar and cleared out by Levine. Here's Johnson. Saw the goal momentarily. Shot taken by Poco! Scored! He's got the brace.
Lifted save by Lorendi. Puts it back. Fires a shot, trickles on and in. Charlie Dennis back the other way down the right flank, takes it himself.
Slides it into the 18. That ball's touched into the back of the net. And no room to turn, but Bergen! What a strike!
And here's Joe Gallardo now coming forward. Gallardo still on the ball. Gallardo takes a shot, it's pushed away.
Ball is loose inside the 18. Moshabani comes over, shot, stop made by Avilas. Silva will have a hit! Oh, good save from Ejimadu. From the moment he left his boot, it looked destined for goal. Alma N4 hesitates, fires, and finds the back of the net.
Welcome back inside TD Place. Our halftime continues as we have a look around the USL. Another record in sight. If Phoenix wins against Colorado Springs this week, they can become the quickest to clinch a playoff spot in league history. The USL reaches a new deal with ESPN. We talked about that in the first half. The new 3-year rights agreement with ESPN features USL Championship and League One matches throughout the 2022 season. And the Monarchs transfer Ukumu for a record fee. Real Monarchs announced on Wednesday it has transferred the rights to defender Stanley Ukumu to Swedish First Division side IF Elfsborg for a USL Championship record transferred fee.
You know, it's all about trying to develop, it's all about trying to improve your game, and you certainly will over in Europe.
Having a look at the out-of-town scoreboards around the USL this evening. A couple of 10 o'clock starts. Tacoma Defiance home to San Antonio FC. Real Monarchs home to OKC Energy. But the two that are also in halftime, Charlotte Independence 0-0 against the Charleston Battery, and Louisville City trailing at home 1-0 to Indy 11. I think we could very well see a lot of movement in the top six when this weekend comes to a conclusion.
I think that Indy 11 result right now was the way the Ottawa Fury would want it to stay. Let Indy 11 get ahead of them. I don't think they're going to be able to get an opportunity to catch up with them. You've got to keep Louisville as close to you as you can. 3 points ahead. Ottawa Fury, though, with 2 games in hand.
As you have a look at the Eastern Conference standings, New York Red Bull have been on an absolute tear. They have a 4-point lead over the Tampa Bay Rowdies, albeit they have played one more game. But that game tonight for Indy, a crucial one. They're on 46 points. A win for Pittsburgh here tonight, if the score carries on as it has, would put them on 47 points. It could well find themselves in a top 4 spot. So the battle, when you look at that from 3 through 6, even to 7, just how tight that is, Gord.
Yeah.
We talked about this last year, and Ottawa was in that hunt to get into one of those final playoff spot right until the last couple of weeks. But the Eastern Conference, compare this to the West, much different. Eastern Conference, there is so much parity in the East, and you just look at the table any week and you just see how tight it is.
We talk about how important it was to put a good run of wins together. It's just as important not to put a run of losses together. Unfortunately for some of these teams, that's exactly what they're doing, putting themselves out of the running. If Ottawa's able to hang on to that number 8 spot, possibly creep up into number 7 or number 6, I think they'd be happy with that. Right now, it's top 4 out of reach. I certainly think so.
All right, we'll take a break here, and our halftime will continue after this. We'll have first half stats, highlights as we head into the second half action from TD Place. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This program brought to you by Gabriel Pizza. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. Now available online at GabrielPizza.com.
I waited till I was 49, 4 months short of my 50th birthday to start. Wish I'd started a lot earlier. Just start. The first step's the hardest. It's never a direct route to get there. What better investment can you make? Because without health, we've got nothing.
All right, everyone got everything?
Let's go.
I have to go pee.
All right, okay.
All right,
Okay.
here we go.
Wait, Dad, hold on. Something.
Okay.
All right.
I need my pillow.
Christopher!
No. You can't take that.
The brand new 3-row Subaru Ascent. The perfect family SUV for your mostly perfect family.
There are 8 million kids in Canada. By the time I finish this sentence, 6 of us will be cyberbullied. By the end of the month, 1 million. Bullied. We're not okay with that.
Welcome back inside TD Place as we continue on with our halftime 3-0. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds leading after the opening 45 minutes scored, and we're going to get to some first half stats and highlights here in a second, but brought to you by Budweiser, these first half highlights, and it's really been going all well for the team in white, and not the ones that have the white stripes, but that their dominant color is white. And really for Ottawa, it's just been errors like this as we see on the opening goal.
Yeah, turnover after turnover after turnover, and you're just giving Pittsburgh possession, not 40 yards from goal, not 30 yards from goal, 20 yards from goal. All they've got to do is string 2 passes together, balls in the back of the net.
Yeah, Kevin Oliveira did have one of Ottawa's 3 shots on target in that opening half, but easily stopped at that time. And then Nico Brett, their leading scorer, he set up the first one. And calm as you like on the second one, just turning Dakota Barnathan and again finding space at the back post.
Far too easy. We commented it during the course of the broadcast. Just far too easy for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Here we see the third goal. Again, DeSantos. To me, I think he's trying to chip Callum Irving, but Brett reacts quick as gets on the end of it. And at 3-0. Full value, it has to be said, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds here, Graham, has been here tonight.
And when you saw in that last goal, I think Charlie Ward thought that Irving was going to get there as he kind of peeled off Nico Brett. He's now got 10 goals on the season. The shot's 7-2 favoring the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. 4 of those 7 coming on target, despite the fact that possession favoring Ottawa Fury FC. It's what you do when you have the ball.
Listen,
and
the reason that's at 63-37 right now is because the ball was hardly ever on the foot of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It was getting moved quickly, it was getting moved efficiently, and it was getting moved forward at a really quick pace. And the Fury just couldn't deal with it at all in that first 45 minutes.
Tyler asked Nikola Popovic going into halftime what needed to happen to find a way back in this one. He talked about having, getting more control of the game inside. And for me, from what I saw, don't get me wrong, Pittsburgh is a great team. You can't win 10 of 13 games by a stroke of luck. But the errors that were made in that first half, all 3 goals, they didn't necessarily work for them. They play with that high line of pressure. They force turnovers, but these are all self-inflicted wounds for Ottawa tonight.
I didn't think it was possible to see a poorer 45 minutes than we saw in the second half last week. I got to put my hand up and say I'm wrong, because that first 45 minutes was just as poor as anything we've seen in 2019 from the Ottawa Fury. What can they salvage here in the second half? Can they come back with 3 goals to get a point? I don't think so. But let's try and win the second half. Let's try and look at something positive we can take into next week when we hit on the road and we start coming up against, again, some really, really good teams. You've already got Pittsburgh here in your own backyard this evening. You've got 1 or 2 others coming up. You get Tampa Bay later on. You're going down to St. Louis. Going to be tough for the Fury.
St. Louis, Atlanta, and Indy, those 3 road games, 3 games in the course of 8 days, and they will have to do it without the services of Cristiano Francois. Of course, he has been called up to the Haitian national team for the CONCACAF Champions League qualifying. So Thomas Mayer-Giguère has come in place of Dakota Barnathan here to start the second half. So we did talk about how he had been warming up from about the 25th minute onwards in that opening half. So no surprise to see him come into this match. And Dakota Barnathan coming out after coming in tonight, replacing Robert Boscovich.
Had a chance to talk to Boscovich before the game tonight. Just picked up a little bit of an injury. Unfortunately for him, he's on the limp.
Cristiano Francois tries to get something going for Ottawa here. Gives way to Kevin Oliveira. Oliveira outside of the boot. That one's blocked. Tries to win back possession. And a good run there by Van Kayezeel as he tried to break it out of his own 18-yard box and was fouled by Oliveira. So Ottawa trying to get something going early down that left side with both Francois and Oliveira. But when you talk about, look, we've talked about injuries for a while this season. We said, it's going to be great when Aiden Daniels is back and Maxim Tissot is back. And both Nikola Popovic and Julian de Guzman told us as much. Look, at our best mid-season signings are going to be the health of those 2 players. And then Moore Sam goes down much longer term than they would have hoped with his foot injury.
Yeah.
And Nana Adakora injured in that back line. You've seen injuries to Mayer-Giguère, Barnathan, so there's been that inconsistency in that back 4, which you look into mid-July, that back 4 was one of the most consistent pieces of Ottawa's lineup, and there was never really any issues there. But you go into that series against Toronto FC in the Canadian Championship, and now these last couple of games, there's certainly been a few moments there, and now a foul called on Greenspan.
Here we go.
About 22 23 yards out, and this is most certainly Carl Howard territory as he just thundered Kevin Oliveira to the ground.
Well, it's perfectly placed, isn't it? Here we see that ball clipped in there. Oliveira, I think Oliveira just runs into the boy. I don't honestly think the boy fouled him at all. He just stood his ground, Graham, but the referee decided that was a free kick. Couldn't get out of the way. As Kevin just bumped right into him, went to ground, the free kick was called, and as you said, 20, 23, 24 yards from goal. This is you-know-whose territory. He's got an opportunity here. I think he can go up and outside the right side of the wall, or he can go up the middle of the wall and try to curl it into the top left-hand corner. We've seen him do both. But a golden opportunity, 4th minute here of the second half for the Fury to get right back into this and be handed a lifeline.
Can the captain start the way back for his club here? Howarth curls it through, takes a deflection in the wall, and Jeremy Gagnon-Lapierre gets a boot to it and sends that one up and over the bar as Kyle Morton was coming out to challenge for that one.
Well, he had every right to go for that. Gagnon-Lapierre is coming over his head. You know what? He does get there first. The goalkeeper decides to stay back. Some referees may have given that, Graham, as dangerous play as he sticks the leg out, but not given. And unfortunately for Gagnon-Lapierre, good instinct to continue with or on as it bounced off the wall. I think Carl tried to go that second option, go over the middle of the wall and try to curl it into the top left-hand corner. Didn't come off.
Nico Brett now in there looking for the hat trick. And that forced a challenge there from Mayer Giguère, and he is down in a world of pain.
Well, this is the last thing you would want, isn't it? Your sub coming on, within 5 minutes he's gone to ground and hurt himself, and well, it might just be a temporary thing. When you start looking at where the painful area might be, he's just trying to get his breath back, I think, a wee bit. Well, again, Brett, ever so dangerous. Mayer Giguère doing well, just it looks like he did.
Oof. Oh, it's
his
the
wrist,
the left wrist. This one delivered in. Irving goes up for it. I don't think he really got much of it. It falls loose in the box. DeSantos knocks his man to the ground. Ottawa unable to escape, and now Pittsburgh back in possession through Nico Brett. That one painted along the goal line, takes a touch off Gagnon-Lapierre for yet another Pittsburgh corner here.
Well, when that ball broke, it was Brett, quickest to react, the Jamaican, getting on the end of it, trying to keep it alive, and as it danced along the end line, it went behind for that corner kick. But Ottawa Fury, after a decent first couple of minutes, are now on the back foot again.
Forbes delivers this one in. That one headed away by Carl Howard. Another delivery in, this one headed away by Aji Berry. Charlie Ward out to pressure. Played back in, offside flag up on Forbes.
Well, you talked about the bench earlier on, Graham. We've already brought one substitution in. I just wonder at what time do we see Aidan Daniels coming in, because I think we need some fresh legs in the attacking third. It just hasn't worked out for them here tonight so far. 52 minutes. It really has been a bit of a stop-start operation for the Ottawa Fury in attack. The assistant referee on that far side taking absolute pelters from Bob Lilly and his staff. The fourth official having to go over, just have a word with them. They thought that throw-in should have been for them.
Callum Irving in control. The top of his own 18 goes to Charlie Ward. Now Mayer Giguère, pressure coming from DeSantos.
Listen, I've got to be honest with you, the work rate that DeSantos is putting in here tonight, I know he did a lot of it last year when he was playing as that striker down the middle of the park, Graham. It was a lot different. Sorry, a couple of years ago, it's a lot different when you're not having to be asking to chase back. He looks like he's got himself in tremendous shape, it has to be said, and the work rate he's putting in here, not only that first half, but here in the second half as well. It's been terrific for the big man, and it's good to see a former Fury player doing well.
Well, and you look at his career statistically.
Yeah, second half.
He is a second half of the season player. You know, maybe it just a big guy like that takes a while to get the engine warm and running, but I'll tell you what, he and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are running right now. And as good as Nico Brett has been, Steven DeSantos has, for my money, been their best player here tonight.
Well, the one dimension he has that you can't teach is height. You can do other stuff.
I've been trying to learn it for 35 years. It's still not working for me.
You can try all you want. It's not going to make any difference. And when you've got that ability to win balls in the air and flick it on for a teammate like Brett that's willing to do the running ahead of you, get on the end of what you would think are hopeless causes, it's a tremendous partnership. And I'm sure Coach Lilly is just over the moon at the performance of these two players, not only tonight, but here in 2019. All three goals have come from Brett and Dos Santos. And I think they've also got the assists to go with the goals as well. Dos Santos with a goal and 2 assists. Brett with an assist and 2 goals. So a wonderful partnership, one of the better partnerships in the USL here in 2019.
Chris Manella in possession inside the Pittsburgh half. 55th minute here at TD Place. Ottawa trailing 3-0 on 3 first half goals from the Riverhounds. The ball played in from Tissot, and Oliveira didn't read that one well, and it went right into the waiting arms of Kyle Morton.
There's just no time at all for the Ottawa Fury to put their foot on the ball. They get the ball. There's 3 white shirts, 2 white shirts on them at all times, Graham. And again, it's a terrific game plan, it has to be said, coming into TD Place. First of all, getting the early goal, which settled the nerves for Pittsburgh, but you're then taking that first 45 minutes to the Ottawa Fury. You didn't take your foot off the gas. Your counter-attack was lightning fast, and that really put the Fury on the back foot coming into the second half.
I gotta ask you, Gord.
Yes, sir.
They look sharp, but is it the curse of the 3rd jersey? Because do you remember the last time they've worn a 3rd jersey?
Oh dear, oh dear. I'm trying to think what it was now.
Don't look at my screen.
No, I'm not. But I'm just trying to think. You got the red, you got all white. Is there a black one they had? Is it all black?
Think of their other OSEG brethren in the Red Blacks.
The Red Blacks, okay. Was there a big R on it? Was there a log cut on it or something?
What is a certain color or style that is synonymous with the Red Blacks or perhaps their fan base?
Oh, that's right, that lumberjack thingy.
There you go.
That's right.
The plaid jersey.
That's right.
August 15th, which is not far off of where we are now, as they fell 2-1 to Minnesota United, which put to end that 12-game unbeaten streak that they were looking to extend to 13, if you remember. That was part of the 2015 season. That was a heck of a game. It was a stoppage time free kick winner.
That's
after
right.
Andrew Wiedemann had tied the game at 1 in the second half.
Well, it's ironic that you're talking about that 2015 team, Graham, because I think this 2019 edition is the closest excitement-wise and energy-wise in our fan base that we've seen over the last number of years. And unfortunately tonight, we're just not seeing the true Ottawa Fury. Anybody checking in to watch this game tonight, this is definitely not indicative of how Ottawa's season has gone. They're usually so tight at home, they're usually so well disciplined at home, and unfortunately in the space of 11 minutes in that first half, the game was effectively, for the way things are looking right now, over and done with.
Well, ask me at the end of June, and I said this is the best Fury FC team we've ever seen, and we got to tip our hats to our colleague AJ Jackieback, who's back home visiting family right now on holidays. But he said, look, I'm not going to say that until this side wins something, because the team in 2015, they won something, and this team right now, we've seen bright spots, but this last month and a half now just hasn't been the team that we saw inside the opening 3 months of the year. Another one delivered in. And Morton had to be quick at the near post as Carl Howard tried to catch the keeper out of position.
Oh, just following up on that 2015 as we see Carl try to catch a keeper out at that front post. But going back to that 2015 team, it was a poor spring season for them. It wasn't until Richie Ryan came back in that last 4 or 5 games, they actually got draws to finish off the spring season.
5 0-0 draws.
Yeah, and then it just picked up from there, and it was a wonderful fall season for them. But the momentum started to build up as the season went on. Unfortunately, you might look at this and say, have the Fury peaked already? Have the Fury peaked possibly back a month or two ago when they were putting good wins together, when they were putting really important wins together? And you just wonder. I remember AJ about 5 or 6 weeks ago, AJ and yourself, or whether it was AJ and myself, talking about how they were coming into a spell of games against teams that were quite low in the standing, Graham, and the opportunity to really push themselves up the table. That didn't really occur. We were tying games we should have won, we were losing games we shouldn't, and that's just made these tougher games, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Indy 11, even that more critical to you this late in the season.
And it was 4 0-0 draws and a 1-0 victory, I should say, to conclude that
2015, yes,
spring season. Of course, that one victory was 1-0. Nicky Patterson, the winner over what would then eventually become a club of his in Indy 11 as he went there the following year. Back at home playing in his native Scotland now.
I believe he's with, let's just watch this. Oh, nothing there, a bit of a nudge there. Gagnon Lapare went to ground. Yeah, Nicky Patterson back playing. I believe he's with Albion Rovers in Scotland, part-time. He's got a real job, as some of us like to say.
Turnover there by Maxim Tissot, and now a chance for Pittsburgh to counter, but heads-up play by Thomas Mayer-Giguère to collect the loose ball.
Yeah, Brett, I think, was expecting that ball again up and over the top, and it just seemed to split the two of them. Number 6, Kasai, that just came on as well, and Brett both ran away from the ball thinking each other was going to take care of it. And unfortunately for Pittsburgh, what would have been a really good counter-attack opportunity went for nothing.
Irving with the long ball forward, headed forward. Haji Berry can't get that one under control. Adewale plays that one down the line. And Howarth absolutely incensed, and he's going to go into the books.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think with David Barry, or at least have a lengthy conversation with the head official.
Yeah, I think the fact that you've got that armband on gets you a little bit extra cash with the referee, but I think the next time an outburst there, well, here we see the play there. The ball just, Carl's just trying to hold his ground. The player goes to ground, and unfortunately for the Fury, free kick goes against him. Just a quick injury update on Moore Sam. I had a chance, bumped into him before the game started. He feels 2 weeks. He's going to be back in training, possibly in contention for a spot up front, which would fit in quite nicely with the fact that Cristiano Francois is going to be missing the next 3 games for the Ottawa Fury. So Haji Berry's come in, he got that goal. Looks like he'd kick-started things. That's miles offside. Looks like he kick-started his Fury career off. And when we talked to the coach last week at the interview, he indicated obviously that this is almost like pre-season for Haji Berry. He's still got to get up to speed with what's going on. Well, if you're an Ottawa Fury fan or an Ottawa Fury teammate, you've got to hope he gets up to speed really quickly, because he can score goals. We know that. He's in an important part of the team. He's up front in that threesome. He's got to start getting on the end of some balls, getting some goals in there, and Carl goes to ground. The free kick given there. So yeah, still a lot to play for here in 2019, but my goodness, the Fury have got to start putting wins together, Graham. consistent wins, 3-4 in a row, much like these other top teams have been doing over the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season.
Gagnon Lapierre. And for Francois. Still going. Great run by Cristiano Francois, but Greenspan first there for Pittsburgh, and he'll shepherd this one out for a goal kick. 63rd minute. And Pittsburgh remain ahead 3-0.
Yeah, 6'6", 205 pounds. There was no way. As much as Cristiano Francois is a bit of a heavyweight himself when he wants to be, there was just no way you're going to get around a man mountain at 6'6". He's been terrific at the heart of that defence here this evening. To be fair, he hasn't had an awful lot of defending to do. It's been a pretty tame effort here tonight by the Ottawa Fury, but midway through this, well, getting close to midway through this second half, Jordan Dover goes to ground, gets the free kick.
Taking a quick peek at the out-of-town scores, Charlotte and Charleston remain scoreless through 63 minutes of play. Indy continue to lead 1-0 on the road in Louisville tonight. And here the Pittsburgh Riverhounds come looking for more. That one stopped just at the top of the 6-yard box, now cleared away. Valfall can't get there. Now he's in possession for Ottawa. Well, pressure coming from behind, no shout. And he loses possession quite easily in the midfield.
Well, again, that was terrific link-up play between Dos Santos and Brett. The two of them with almost a telepathic understanding of each other, where the other one wants to make the run, where the ball needs to be headed through. Cape Verde and the Jamaican working very well here tonight.
Fans, you can continue to join the USL on ESPN through the 2022 season. The USL is excited to announce that the championship and League One will remain with the leader in sports for 3 more years. ESPN Plus will continue to be the home of all things USL, and at least 19 games a year will be featured on the ESPN family of networks, including 9 games on ESPN Deportes. Continue to follow, support, and watch your club on ESPN and ESPN Plus. And you can tune in to ESPN3 on September 11th at 10:30 p.m. for an electrifying edition of Wednesday Night Soccer as the high-flying Phoenix Rising FC heads to Las Vegas to meet the Lights in an action-packed Western Conference showdown. See it all September 11th at 10:30 p.m. during Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN3.
Oliveira brought down there, and it will be a free kick in central midfield, but again, it's just a case of being swarmed around by 2-3 white shirts every single time they're in possession.
Fall heads that down to the path of Carl Howarth. Howarth cutting into the middle. Howarth still going. Howarth top of the 18. Dispossessed momentarily. Can Barry get to it? That one will take a deflection and out for an Ottawa corner here in the 66th minute. Good work by the Fury captain. And then Barry wins Ottawa the corner.
Well, it's one of the few times we have seen that penetration by Carl Howarth. Tries to nutmeg the defender, does well. Hadji Berry with the strike. Comes off the left back. James on that far side, and it will be another corner kick for the Ottawa Fury. 66 minutes gone here of this match tonight.
This one delivered into the back post. Headed away, falls to Charlie Ward. Plays this one in to the back post. Headed back into play. Valfall up for the header. It's loose. Falls to Oliveira at the top of the 18. He's dispossessed. And now Pittsburgh a chance to counter with numbers, led by Nico Brett. Irving well off his line to challenge and skies that one, and then retreats back to his own 18. Dos Santos unable to keep it in play despite a couple efforts.
And yes, that was number 17, Van Keyeziel, streaming down the middle of the park, chasing after that ball from Brett to try and get on the end of it. Every single Pittsburgh player wants to get in on the act for a score sheet here tonight.
Well, after dropping their home opener to Nashville, Ottawa has gone 11 straight games without defeat, 7 wins and 4 draws. Haji Berry, his effort to play it across to Cristiano Francois, knocked out by Joe Greenspan for another Ottawa corner here. That unbeaten streak certainly at risk here tonight. They take it quickly, but it doesn't come off, and now Pittsburgh able to come back the other way through Nico Brett now.
And that was unfortunate, that last part there. Nice ball by Ward through to Fall. A nice little slit ball from Val Fall through to Haji Berry. Just unfortunate as he tried to clip the ball back across the face of goal. He got cut out and nothing came of that. But those breaks, unfortunately, have been few and far between for the Fury here tonight, Graham, as they look down the barrel of right now a 3-0 loss.
Pittsburgh looking for more here. Falls to Nico Brett. He's looking for the hat trick, dishes it off. Back to help out was Cristiano Francois. Pittsburgh again back in possession. This one delivered in off Thomas Mayer-Giguère and out for a Pittsburgh corner.
Well, we're being told number 12, Christian Valesky, is going to be coming in. And it will be, I believe, Steven Dos Santos will be coming out, number 8 for Pittsburgh. We will wait for that confirmation, but that's the signal we have been given, 12 for 8.
And Aiden Daniels has made the run from behind the Ottawa goal where he's warming up to the bench to get kitted out, as we'll be seeing him come into this match momentarily as well. Canardo Forbes, meanwhile, sets to take the corner, delivers this one in. Around the penalty area, sits loose. Good play by Gagnon Laparé, and there's an effort from 20 yards out. That one up and over the bar. After a good clearance by Gagnon Laparé, quickly taken by Callum Irving. They try and catch Pittsburgh here. Played back to Kyle Morton. That one takes a deflection off Francois, into touch for a Pittsburgh throw in front of their own bench.
With 20 minutes left to go here, I'm sure it'll just be a case for Pittsburgh to see this game out. No injuries, nobody picking up silly cards. When you start getting to the tail end of the season and suspensions are piling up, it does make it difficult. You've got to get deep into your bench, but the way this Pittsburgh team, Graham, is set up, the way they're playing, they are going to be one tough ask to beat in the Eastern Division playoffs, that's for sure.
Canardo Forbes under pressure. Good work by Oliveira to win it to Francois. Francois cuts around his man. Francois still going, and his effort to cut it back to the top of the 6-yard box was again knocked away by Joe Greenspan. He's always in the right position tonight when Ottawa has a threat going, and he knocks that out for a corner.
Yeah, Forbes was very, very lucky there. Just tried to be a little bit too cute, Graham.
There's an effort, takes a deflection in front, but Morton down to collect the ball.
Forbes caught in possession on that last break. Francois, unfortunately, just couldn't get it back across the face of goal. So it will be Aiden Daniels coming in. Looks like Kevin Oliveira will be coming out for Ottawa. And yes, it will be Steven Dos Santos, who has had a terrific performance here this evening on his return to TD Place.
Well, Steven Dos Santos, no stranger to Bob Lilly. Of course, he had Dos Santos while he was managing the Rochester Rhinos before Dos Santos made the move to Ottawa, and then Lilly went to Pittsburgh. And both those subs will conclude now, and certainly a round of applause to Steven Dos Santos on his return. An impressive performance here at TD Place, where he called home for 2 seasons with Ottawa Fury FC. And you also got to give him credit. Look, he scores a goal inside the opening 2 minutes of this game. And you know what? You can fist pump. You could strip the shirt off, but very respectful. Kind of dropped his head, pointed to the sky, and walked back to the center circle.
And the goal just set the tone for the rest of the game, Graham, because it put the Ottawa Fury, it brought all the nerves, it brought all the tension from last week with regards to that second half performance right back to the fold again. When you have a team like Pittsburgh that can pass the ball, that can move, that can support each other so well. I mean, that's one of the things that I've been so impressed with more than anything else here tonight. Wow, that was very impressive as well. The support for that, when they're in possession, Graham, every single time there's 3-4 options for a Riverhound, instead of just having to launch the ball all the way back to the goalkeeper, or worse, even just launch it up into the attacking third. There's a purpose to the game. They're holding on to possession, and we're seeing a very disappointed Carl Haworth getting taken off here now.
Jamar Dixon coming in place of the Fury captain, and Haworth hands off the captain's armband to Charlie Ward for the duration of this one. So that is Ottawa's third and final substitution of the match.
So we still have one substitute left to come for Pittsburgh, and I'm sure at some point that will happen. When you're coasting through a game like this, I wouldn't be surprised to see Nico Brett, as much as he would love to get his hat-trick goal here tonight, Graham. It might just be a case of, look, you've ran your course. It's been a wonderful run for you. Let's just put you out to see these final 15 minutes or so on the bench.
Well, coming up next for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they've got a pair of home games starting next Saturday. They're home to Louisville, and then the following Saturday home to Charleston before they go away from home to face Nashville and Memphis, and then close out the month of September at home to Indy 11, and then it's Loudoun away, Atlanta home, St. Louis away, and Birmingham away to close out the USL Championship regular season. For Ottawa Fury FC, it's certainly going to be a tough task because they now head out on the road for 3 straight. They have St. Louis, Atlanta, and Indy, and that all occurring from the 4th of September through the 11th. So 3 games in 8 days all away from home before they return home on the 18th of September to take on the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They remain at home to face the Hartford Athletic on the 22nd of September, and then visit North Carolina FC to close out the month of September. And then they're home to Indy, away to Swope Park, home to Bethlehem, and close out the season on the 19th of October in Charlotte.
Well, I think if you're Coach Popovich, you'd be quite happy, at least for my money, to take 4 of those next 9 points. I would look to beat Atlanta United, possibly on the road, Graham. Pick up a point if you can in St. Louis next week, and it's going to be a real struggle to take anything off Indy 11 down there. So if you're able to come back with 4 out of 9 points off that road trip, I would look at it as being somewhat of a success. That way you're able to keep yourself in touch with the Louisville, as we said. I think Pittsburgh now will go to 47 points here tonight. Indy 11, what was the score of that Indy 11, Graham, last you looked?
Indy 11 remain 1-0 ahead on Louisville. That one in the 70th minute. It's still 0-0 between Charlotte and Charleston. That one in the 75th minute.
And Indy 11 with that win would jump up into second place. They will be tied.
Update there, Louisville City have just equalized that match.
Yeah, that's not good for the Ottawa Fury either. That's not good for the Fury.
72nd minute, and it's now 1 apiece.
You said at the break, the chopping and changing that's going to be taking place over the next 3, 4, 5 weeks.
It's so tight because even draws can see changing in the standings. That's just how close it is. There's the header right on target. Good save by Callum Irving, as he had to be ready there to kick save that one away, and then a foul called on the ensuing rebound as Val Fall was knocked to the turf.
Oh, a good corner right to the back post area. Well, it's a slight deflection there, I think.
Yeah, I think Valesky might have got the second touch to it. But
that's a terrific save, because Callum Irving's got to get the trajectory of the initial header that came in, and then that slight deflection took it down towards his foot. Excellent stop by the keeper.
You have to go all the way back to the 26th of June when Ottawa beat a side ahead of them in the table, and that was a 3-2 win here at TD Place over the Charleston Battery on a night that Carl Haworth netted a pair. Moore Sam scored the winner. And now Pittsburgh come looking for more here. Charlie Ward back to help out. Cheekily plays it back to Callum Irving with Valesky right there beside him.
I don't think he was expecting that, to be honest with you. Well, again, another good counter-attack there by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. No free kick given there, and LBT so just breaking away. Aaron Daniels just hasn't been able to get a footing on this match since he's come on, albeit just a few minutes ago, but I'm sure it was a case of just getting Aidan Daniels more minutes, get him involved again into the game, get him into the flow of how things are going for the Ottawa Fury. He has missed some time. Good player that obviously is going to be quite possibly on an important streak over these next 3 weeks with Cristiano Francois being away.
We talked about that game against Charleston, that 3-2 win back on the 26th of June. And their next match, the 29th in Tampa, they fell 2-1 in stoppage time, because that was the game that Moore Sam picked up that initial injury, not the hairline fracture that he picked up to his foot when he was on his way training back from injury. But since that time, of course, they, just glued that result against Tampa, but they had the draw against New York, they had the draw against Louisville, they had the win against Swope Park, the loss to Memphis, the draw to Birmingham, and then those wins against Loudoun and St. Louis. But it goes to show you how important of a factor that Moore Sam has been to this team. And when everyone was starting to get back healthy, and you can say, well, now when we go to the bench, we've got depth, not just through 1 or 2 subs, we've got 3, and then guys fighting for spots as well.
Well, I remember talking at one of the press conferences with regards to the depth that this squad now had early on in the season, with Moore Sam arriving and 1 or 2 other players, and then it just seemed to just go south. You had injuries to key players that unfortunately kept them out for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, and that chemistry just gets totally upset. And unfortunately for the Ottawa Fury, they've just struggled here in these last 6, 7, 8 weeks, Graham, to try and get that consistency that you need as a championship contending team to have, and I think it's just something that you've got to work through over the next little while. I'm just trying to take a quick look. 3-0 as it is right now. You lost to Nashville 3-0 early on, and I believe that was the home opener.
Yeah, and that one, though, to be fair to Ottawa, that was not a 3-0 game. No. That game could have just as easily been, 1 or 2-0 for Ottawa as it was 3-0 going against them. It was a great looking game, and then it went south in a hurry, and then it was over.
And that is the biggest loss you've had on the season here at home, certainly 3-0, and you look like you're going to match that unless you're able to snatch a goal here inside these final 8 minutes or so. But just hasn't been the type of performance that I'm sure Coach Popovich was expecting here. He had been saying all week, we're up against a really, really tough team, a really well-disciplined, well-organised team. Well, it's been on display here this evening. A thoroughly convincing performance, a stamp game to put your foot down to say, we're not going anywhere.
Tissot's delivery comes in shallow and cleared into touch for an Ottawa throw just in front of the Pittsburgh bench. In for Gagnon Laparé. Charlie Ward. Now Mayer Giguère. Chris Manella. Jamar Dixon. Back to Manella. Turns his man and plays it across for Ward. Gagnon Laparé. He's closed down, forced to turn back. Now Valfall to Charlie Ward. Ward under pressure from Nico Brett. Valfall lets it go. Aiden Daniels now. Back to Chris Manella. That one just a bit over the head of Maxim Tissot. Into touch for a Pittsburgh throw. Quickly taken. Nico Brett looking for Valesky. Tonight's attendance 5,502.
Wasn't it 5,503 last week? Who's the extra
Where's
guy?
that other guy? He started the long weekend early.
Dear oh dear.
Aiden Daniels plays that one forward. That one out of the reach of Haji Berry, but Daniels gets bowled over, so a foul called.
I think yellow card to Greenspan.
Well, he's certainly, you feel it, whether he wants you to or not. But at 6'6", you're gonna feel any collision with that big man. Yeah, Daniels has touch. Just led with the studs, and you're always gonna get
a lot of times professionals will look at the referees, because they genuinely believe they didn't do anything wrong, but he certainly was a high boot there. He was coming down onto the other player, so a bit of a no-brainer there for referee to make that call. Maxime Tissot from must be about 30 yards right now.
Tissot again gets quite under that one and sends it up and over the bar. That's two opportunities he's had on set pieces here tonight, and he's skied them over the bar.
Yeah, been well underneath both of them. And it's all about finding your range. I mean, this is only, was it his fifth game back, Graham? From that long-term injury that he's had, maybe even 6 or so. But, you've got another, tonight alone he's played with 2 other central defenders inside him. Last week it was Boskovic. Tonight it started off Barnathan. Right now it's Thomas Mayer-Giguère. So in the space of a game and a half of football, he's had 3 different inside defenders playing alongside, central defenders playing alongside them. And that does make it a little bit tougher when you're trying to get your feet yourself with regards to your positioning, with regards to your play. You're getting that bit of an upset with defenders inside you. It makes it tough.
Well, we've the only team we've yet to see Ottawa face this season has been Indy 11. And there's an effort from distance with Irving off his line. And that's a goal for the highlight reel there for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. 86th minute. It's now 4-0. And Sammy Kasai, what an effort from long range, as Callum Irving was caught well off his line after he dispossesses Aiden Daniels in the center circle and just launches it. And that's been the night it's been for Ottawa Fury FC. And Sammy Kasai already on Friday night giving the USL a clip worthy for goal of the week.
Well, it's certainly been the case of Friday night lights here for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Graham. Absolute tremendous awareness there by Kasai as he broke away from Aiden Daniels, who turned the ball over in central midfield, just trying to do a little bit too much, trying to get something sparked for the Ottawa Fury. But what vision. You can see it all you want, but you've still got to hit that ball 50, 55 yards, Graham, up and over a goalkeeper that's trying to retreat. So, wonderful piece of skill. The last time we saw a goal like that, I think, was Walker for Cincinnati, wasn't it? You and I were doing the game quite a couple of years ago, I think it was.
Well, you want to talk about blowout score lines? That was one that night too. I believe that. What did that one end?
3-0. No, it was 3-0, but it was about 60 some odd minutes before that first goal went in. The Fury were given as good as they got, but to be fair, this is absolutely nothing to that FC Cincinnati game. There has just been, since the second minute, it's been all Pittsburgh. and they will be more than happy just to sit back for the rest of the weekend, Labor Day weekend, all over North America, all over Canada and the US anyway. And they'll be more than happy just to sit back, see the rest of the scores coming in, and how that shapes the Eastern Conference. Right now at 47 points, Pittsburgh will now jump up above North Carolina for sure, depending on Louisville Indy 11. It's still 1-1 after 81 minutes. If Indy's able to get a point, they'll stay on 47, but with 14 wins against 13 for Pittsburgh, they will maintain that number 4 slot. But, well, Pittsburgh, as we said, it's now last 6 games, 5 wins, Graham, and they just continue to grow from in strength to strength as this season reaches the meat and potatoes of the schedule.
Well, I guess Sammy Kasai knew what I was getting to before he finished off that beauty, but what I was going to say was, look, we've seen every team save for Indy 11 this season against Ottawa Fury FC, and for my money, I've watched every game, and I've watched many of them 2 and 3 times over. This is the best team that I've seen Ottawa play this year, bar none, in terms of the system that they play, what they put out there in their starting 11, what they brought in off the bench. My goodness, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are going to be a force to be reckoned with heading in to the USL playoffs. And yes, there's still plenty of games still to be played, but if they continue this way of form, this is going to be a tough team to knock out and send home.
You know, you can sit and watch highlights all you want on the USL website with regards to how Pittsburgh play, win or lose. But when you see them live in person, we obviously, from our vantage point, we've got an entire field we're able to see, not just that 30-35 yard window you see on television. The movement, the support for each other is absolutely outstanding, and it's going to take a really, really good team to take them down in the playoffs. They're obviously, for my money, going to finish inside the top. I would suggest inside the top 4 anyway, get that all-important crucial home playoff date. But I think even going on the road, if you have to go on the road to a New York or a Tampa, maybe even a Nashville, Graham, I think they've got more than enough firepower to score the goals that's going to help them. But I just think they're solid enough at the back, Graham. Greenspan is doing a terrific job. That'll be offside, I think. Greenspan's doing just a terrific job back there, working those other 3 defenders alongside them. And as a unit, I think tonight they've been absolutely terrific.
1 minute of stoppage time to go as we've ticked over 90 at TD Place.
How can you have 1 minute when we've had 5 substitutes? We had 2 together, so that should be at least 2 minutes added on.
4th official has
had
a cottage
enough,
to get
has
to.
had enough.
He's got a cottage to get
right.
to.
It is Friday here, that's right. I forgot about that. Not Saturday, it's Friday, so all to play for as far as your weekend goes. But it has not been a solid performance here, unfortunately, for the Ottawa Fury this evening. He's got to suck it up, Graham, get back another good week of practice, take a couple of days off this weekend, get back at it Monday or Tuesday, and start working on the things getting ready for us. It's St. Louis next week, right?
St. Louis, and you know what? Maybe a result like this. This is what you need. You need you need a slam, and then you head away from you head out on the road. 3 games, 8 days. You got to spend some time together. You're gonna have to grind through it as we get the final here tonight from TD Place. 4-0, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds over Ottawa Fury FC. Not the way they saw this one going down here tonight, but we'll be back to wrap things up in our post-match show after this. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
These photos I had to dig for because I would hide from photos. I didn't want to be acknowledged. What I would say to my former self is just get started, just begin. Go into Good Life, meet with the trainer, go to a class, just start.
Come on.
Come on, go make some friends.
It's so tough to give them a run in the city, but they really love it here. Be gentle, be gentle.
We're making friends. See the one that, well, it's just going in circles?
Yeah.
That's mine.
Off. Come on, time to go. Come here.
The all-new cross trick.
Come here. Now.
It's up for it.
Oh, no. Oh, there he goes.
I just shampooed him this morning.
There are 8 million kids in Canada. By the time I finish this sentence, 6 of us will be cyberbullied. By the end of the month, 1 million. Bullied. We're not okay with that.
Welcome back inside TD Place as we wrap things up here. Final score tonight. Visiting Pittsburgh Riverhounds come into the nation's capital and walk out with 3 points on the shoulders of a 4-0 victory. And thanks in large part to the performance of a former Fury FC striker, and Steven DeSantos got things off the hop 2 minutes in. And then he set up 2 for Nico Brett. And then we had a beautiful one from Sami Kasai from 40 yards out, 45 yards out.
Close to 50, yeah.
That was a pretty one from Kasai, USL Goal of the Week candidate right there. That was the cherry on top of a 4-0 victory for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds tonight. And as we have a look at our first half stats, or our full-time stats, I should say, Gord, well, it pretty much all paints the picture as to why the scoreline went the way it did tonight. You can ignore possession because Pittsburgh were happy for Ottawa just to hang on to the ball because they didn't give up very much. You saw Ottawa just those 2 shots on target on the night, and really no trouble for the Riverhounds goalkeeper. Joe Greenspan was rock solid whenever Ottawa did threaten. He was there to defuse the opportunities. It was full value for 90 minutes from the visitors.
The biggest loss of the season, 4-0, the Ottawa Fury at home, and down to one reason: the Pittsburgh Riverhounds played their perfect road game. They came out, they scored early, they scored often, 2 goals inside 11 minutes, made it so difficult for the Fury to get into any rhythm at all. They pressured them high. They were winning those 1v1 in central midfield battles, which is obviously so crucial every single match. It was 4v3 in that central midfield area. That diamond was just making it so difficult. And when they had an opportunity to hit on the counter-attack, my goodness, lightning fast. Brett obviously the beneficiary of a couple of goals from that. I think overall just Pittsburgh just looked like a quality team that are going to be very, very hard to knock off when the going gets tough at the tail end of October.
And when we do our stats, one thing that you don't see, and I don't really know if you could keep a stat like this, but errors. Because there was effectively 0 from the opposition tonight, and there was a lot from Ottawa in that opening 45 minutes, and that's why, and full credit to the Riverhounds, that was a fantastic game. But when you look at the errors, the unforced errors from Ottawa tonight, that's what put them behind the 8 ball early and often in that opening 45 minutes, and it was always going to be a tough way back against a side that's good. Now 11 wins from 14 games, 11-1-2 in that run of form for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds as they continue their climb up the Eastern Conference standings. As we have a look at what Ottawa now has ahead of them in their upcoming schedule. Opposition, I don't want to say it gets easier because St. Louis put on a good show here with 10 men last Saturday, and it doesn't get easy when you have that all away from home. So it starts on the 4th of September. They go away to St. Louis and then away to Atlanta United 2, and then back up closer to home but still on the road to take on Indy 11. So 3 games over the course of 8 days, and the toughest opponent comes at the tail end of that road trip before they come home to take on Tampa Bay and Hartford in pretty close succession as well. So it's going to be a big and busy month of September for Ottawa Fury FC, starting with that 3-match road trip.
And just getting back to a couple of seconds ago when you talked about this performance tonight, I think the one word that we need to look at is just uncharacteristic. This was not an Ottawa Fury performance. Now, to be fair, the second half last week wasn't an Ottawa Fury performance. We've now seen another 90 minutes that we consider not to be an Ottawa Fury performance. When are we going to start getting back to seeing Ottawa Fury performances? It better happen soon, because these games that you've got out on the road, as well as the tough ones when you come back, these next 5 games are really going to make a difference as to whether you're going to have a home playoff date or whether you're struggling to hang off to possibly going on the road midweek in the opening round of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, the playoffs don't begin until the tail end of October, but it begins now for Ottawa Fury FC because with what we've seen through the month of August, and they didn't start it well, they didn't end it well, and now points need to be won in the month of September against some tough opposition and a tough road trip to start the month. Gord, pleasure as always calling games with you. A special thanks to our entire broadcast crew, our producer Colin Murphy, Tyler McDonald. For Gordon Smith, I'm Graham Ivory. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a safe and happy long weekend. This has been Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.